ABANG JOHARI hints at major announcement, 3 bills to be tabled at the next Dun sitting, and Finland intends to join NATO. Those are the headlines for tonight. Good evening, everyone. You're with me, Douglas Elliott, and this is TVS Nightline. We begin with our top story. Premier of Sarawak hints a major announcement that will chart Sarawak's development and capabilities. Datuk Petinggi Tan Sri ABANG JOHARI Tun Openg, who was fresh from his overseas work visit, noted that the matter would be announced in the upcoming State Legislative Assembly sitting on Tuesday.
Jadi tuan-tuan adik kakak, tunggulah kita hari Selasa tu. Kita ada persidangan Dewan Undangan Negeri. Ada lagi ketek baru yang nak saya buat. NATO akan memberikan juga kekuatan kepada negeri Sarawak. Tunggu hari Selasa.
He said this at the opening ceremony of the Parti Pusaka Bumiputra Bersatu PBB Tupong Branch Triennial Meeting on Sunday. Therefore, he hopes the people in the state would continue to place their confidence in Gabungan Party Sarawak GPS towards attaining a high developed and high income state by 2030.
Gabungan Party Sarawak GPS is adamant in its decision to field its candidates in all 31 parliamentary seats in the upcoming general election GE15. The matter was announced by its chairman, Datuk Petinggi Tan Sri ABANG JOHARI Tun Openg, on Sunday, thus putting any speculation of allowing any peninsula-based party members to contest to rest.
Oh, that one. We cross the bridge. But GPS will definitely fill our candidate with all 31. Okay?
ABANG JOHARI was commenting on recent reports that Bersatu President Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin had urged the GPS chairman to consider allowing Bersatu Sarawak candidates to be fielded in Sarawak parliamentary seats in GE15. Earlier, ABANG JOHARI was met by reporters after attending the GPS pre-council meeting held at Parti Pusaka Bumiputra Bersatu PBB headquarters on Sunday. Similarly, Chief Political Secretary to the Premier Fazruddin Abdul Rahman in a statement today said GPS will not compromise on its stand to contest in all parliamentary seats in Sarawak. The Parti Pusaka Bumiputra Bersatu Deputy Youth Chief said by putting GPS at the helm, it would ensure political stability to the nation and ensure prosperity to the people.
Finland's government on Sunday announced that it will apply to join NATO, ditching decades of neutrality despite Russia's threats of retaliation. The decision was announced at a joint press conference with the country's president and prime minister, who said the move will go through the country's parliament before it can formally apply for NATO's membership.
We hope that the parliament will confirm the decision to apply for NATO membership during the coming days. It will be based on a strong mandate. With the President of the Republic, we have been in close contact with governments of NATO member states and NATO itself. I wish to thank the support we have received so far.
Moscow, which shares a border with Finland, has said it would be a mistake for Helsinki to join the alliance and it would harm bilateral ties. Sweden is also expected to follow suit as public support for membership has grown amid security concerns. Both countries are already NATO partners, having taken part in allied exercises for years and cast off strict neutrality on joining the European Union together in 1995. But they have until now reasoned peace was best kept by not publicly choosing sides. The decision to join NATO would represent a setback for Moscow, with the war in Ukraine triggering the very kind of enlargement of the alliance on Russia's borders that Moscow says it tries to prevent.
3 bills will be tabled in the second meeting of the first session of the 19th State Legislative Assembly Dun sitting, which will convene from May 17 to 26. According to Dun Speaker Tan Sri Muhammad Asfia Awang Nassar, the 3 bills include the Supplementary Supply Bill 2022, Land Code Amendment Bill 2022, and Forest Amendment Bill 2022.
Bills to be tabled and ministers presenting. Supplementary Supply 2022 Bill 2022. Minister presenting will be Yang Berhormat Dato' Amar Douglas Ugambas. Second, Land Code Amendment Bill. Minister presenting will be Yang Berhormat
Supplementary Supply Bill.
Yang Berhormat Datuk Hajah Sharifah Hasidah bin Syed Ahmad Ghazali. The third is Forest Amendment Bill 2022. Minister presenting Yang Berhormat Datuk Amar Haji Tengah bin Ali Hassan. First reading set 18 May. Second and third reading 19 May. This will be debated.
Additionally, Asfia explained that the Land Code Amendment Bill 2022 to be presided in the sitting is not related to the Native Customary Rights or NCR land.
This Land Code Amendment has nothing to do with NCR. Nothing to do. Be rest assured. Nothing to do with NCR. It's totally new. You wouldn't expect it.
The 8-day Dune sitting marks a full return for the August House, complete with opening ceremony and the address by Head of State Tun Pehin Sri Abdul Taib Mahmud on its first day. The Dune sitting will also witness the election of Senator on May 18 for Senator Dr. Zaidi Suhaili, whose term will expire on July 18. In Miri, more than 200 congregants from the Buddhist community attended the Wessa Day celebration. Organized by the Miri Buddhist Society, the event also saw Unit for Other Religions, or UNIFOR, contributing 20,000 ringgit to the Miri Buddhist Society Youth Chapter to inculcate charitable values in society.
This is actually a very auspicious celebrations for the Buddhist associations, the society. It signifies that the harmonies of the country, of the Sarawak especially, where different multiracial races, regions, we can come together and celebrate. And you can see today, we have a lot of associations also represented here to celebrate this function. Dr. Sri in these special occasions also has allocated allocations 20,000 in funding the youth class of the Buddhist society here, for them to inculcate the right value for the younger people, so that these right people can actually help to contribute in our society in time to come.
Jeffrey, representing the State Minister of Transport, Dato' Sri Lee Kim Shin, said the UNIFOR contributions will also be distributed to several non-governmental organizations around Miri.
So actually there are 6 bodies, organizations, they have actually received the donations from Jiseling. Okay, so annually during their functions, they always do that. Jiseling is also an NGO where they have received also funding from donations from public, and returns they're also helping the other needy organizations. I think this is something that we can always emulate and learn from, helping each other in this society, especially during the difficult time.
Wessa Day this year can be felt in a more joyous and compassionate situation, as Buddhists worldwide finally can visit their religious house of worship to practice their yearly rituals for the celebration. This can also be seen at the Mahavihara Temple in Brickfields, which found the premise, a 200-year-old heritage landmark, flooded with worshippers as early as 8 a.m. Many worshippers who were met at the Buddha Mara Vihara Temple also shared joy and excitement to be able to perform their rituals just like normal.
So for us, in terms of precautions, we told them to wear their masks. We encourage them, don't bring their children who are below 12 years old. The other thing we also say is that if you're not feeling well, if you have a fever, sore throat, or a cough, don't come. We advise them not to come. They can come when they are better.
Many worshippers who were met at the Buddha Mara Vihara Temple also shared joy and excitement to be able to perform their rituals just like normal.
Saya berasa amat bangga dengan gembira sebab sudah lama tak datang ke kuil. Boleh nampak situasi di sini sangat meriah juga.
Saya rasa relief dan gembira lah dapat bersama keluarga datang sembahyang lah.
Berasa gembira lah sebab dapat sembahyang. Selepas 2 tahun kita duduk dalam rumah je, COVID punya pasal.
And coming up right after the break, Sarawak to decide on SOPs for pubs and nightclubs, and DBKU to take action against vandals of foamy fountain. Right here on TVS Nightline. Stay tuned. You're watching TVS Nightline. Now, Sarawak will soon decide on the standard operating procedures SOPs for pubs and nightclubs, and whether or not the SOP announced recently by the Federal Ministry of Housing and Local Government will be adopted. Deputy Premier Dato' Sri Dr. Sim Kwee Han said the State Disaster Management Committee SDMC will have a meeting soon to discuss and decide on the matter.
We will meet in Sarawak. We always look at the policy, look at it is suitable for us in Sarawak or not. SDMC has always been setting out our own rules and our own policy. So not everything from West Malaysia is suitable for us.
Dr. Sim said a formal announcement on the SOPs for the nightclubs and pubs will be announced over the next few days. He added SDMC has always had the final say, especially on matters related to COVID-19 preventive measures in the state. On May 12, the Ministry of Housing and Local Government, KPKT, issued the Licensed Pubs and Nightclub Operations Protocol Guidelines. The guidelines include patrons of licensed pubs and nightclubs will have to take a COVID-19 self-test within 24 hours before entering the premises, beginning May 15. If the customer does not perform the test, the premises can conduct an antigen rapid test kit on the customer and must ensure that the customer's COVID-19 test result is negative.
Kuching North City Hall DBKU will take stern action against vandals who poured detergent into the Hornbill Fountain at Kuching Waterfront. Deputy Minister of Utilities and Telecommunications, Dr. Abdul Rahman Junaidi, said the mischievous action not only posed problems to DBKU, but the vandalism could also damage the iconic structure.
Untuk makluman bahawa pihak pengurusan DBKU telah pun mengadakan perbincangan dengan pihak PDRM polis telah pun mendapat pengesahan daripada video CCTV yang terdapat di dekat premis tersebut dan telah pun dapat melihat ada dua individu yang telah mencurahkan bahan pencuci tersebut di dalam kolam tersebut lebih kurang pada pukul 9 suku malam. Dan video itu dalam simpanan pihak polis dan pihak polis pun sedang laporan polis telah pun dibuat dan kita harapkan individu yang telah pun jadi kesan dalam video tersebut dapat tampil untuk membuat laporan untuk berjumpa dengan pihak polis.
Rahman Junaidi also advises the public not to vandalize public properties as stern action would be taken against the perpetrators. The May 12th incident made rounds on social media with images of the fountain overflowing with foam caused by the detergent.
The Great Resignation in the United States has hit 4.54 million, indicating a record that the labor market remained historically tight, as the pandemic era has been affecting the economy around the world, including the United States, the greatest demand for supply chain globally to be included. Our correspondent from Washington, D.C., Alfian Zaini, has the details.
Hit 5.6 million, another new high. Employment openings exceeded the level of available workers by 5.6 million in March, while a record number of people quit the jobs, the Labour Department reported Tuesday. The level of job postings hit 11.55 million for the month, also a fresh record for data that goes back to December 2000, according to the Job Openings and Labour Turnover Survey. There was up to 105,000 from February and representative of a jobs market still historically tight. At the same time, quits totaled 4.54 million, an increase of 152,000 from the previous month as the so-called Great Resignation continued. The COVID pandemic era has seen opportunities for workers who feel confident enough to leave their current situations for better employment elsewhere. The report adds to an inflationary picture that is expected to push the Federal Reserve into a series of aggressive rate hikes, starting with a 0.5 percentage point move on Wednesday. Shortage of labor supply during the pandemic has caused a surge in wages, with average hourly earnings up 5.6% from a year ago in March. Still, that hasn't kept up with inflation, which has run at 8.5% pace over the same time period. On supply, which failed to keep up with demand in March, with the level of new hires actually declining slightly to 6.74 million, despite the increase in openings. Total separations rose to 6.32 million, a rise of nearly 4% from February.
Welcome back. In global development, an 18-year-old gunman shot 10 people to death and wounded 3 others on Saturday at a grocery store in New York in what authorities are calling an act of racially motivated attack. Authorities said the suspect, who was wearing body armor and military-style clothing, broadcasted the attack in real time on social media platform Twitch.
Officials said 11 of the 13 people struck by gunfire were African Americans and 2 others were white. The racial breakdown of the dead was not made clear. The suspect, Peyton Gendron, was prosecuted hours after the shooting in state court on first-degree murder charges, which carry a maximum penalty of life in prison without parole. The judge also ordered Gendron to remain in custody without bail and to undergo a forensic examination. Authorities said the attack would be investigated both as a hate crime and as an act of racially motivated violent extremism under federal law. U.S. President Biden condemned the shooting as abhorrent in a statement issued late Saturday. The recent shooting follows a pattern of other racially motivated mass murders in recent years, including a Pittsburgh attack that left 11 people dead in October 2018 and the Atlanta spa shootings in March 2021, in which a white man killed 8 people targeting Asians.
The United Arab Emirates de facto leader Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan has been elected as the president of the Gulf Arab state by a federal Supreme Council on Saturday, solidifying his rule over the OPEC oil producer and key regional player.
The Council, which groups the rulers of the 7 Emirates of the UAE Federation, elected Sheikh Mohammed, known as MBZ, a day after the death of his half-brother, President Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed, who was also ruler of Abu Dhabi. MBZ 61 had already been wielding power for years in a period when Sheikh Khalifa suffered bouts of illness, including a stroke in 2014. He becomes president at a time when the UAE's long-standing ties with the United States have been visibly strained over perceived U.S. disengagement from its Gulf allies' security concerns. MBZ led a realignment of the Middle East that created a new anti-Iran axis with Israel. He also bolstered the military might of the UAE, which, coupled with its oil wealth and business hub status, extended Emirati influence in the region and beyond.
We wrap TVS Nightline tonight with this feature. A young man who lost his leg 2 years ago has become an internet sensation in China, as his resourcefulness led him to make enhancements to his prosthetic leg. Liang Kaiyu worked as an engineer before he injured his left leg after an explosion in January 2020 and is now determined to empower other amputees with his shining prosthetic via social media.
那段时间是比较难熬的。那种感觉就是情绪特别低落，掀开那个被子，看一下自己的腿没了，接受不了，就是那种绝望的感觉。消沉的话，大概得持续了有3个月的时间吧。这个心情啊，就跟过山车。
Liang made his prosthetic more comfortable and user-friendly by remolding it with gadgets, including a shock absorber and charger port. He said after the modifications, the prosthetic leg can serve as an absorber when doing exercises or jumping, as well as absorbing extra shock. Liang has shared his design and ideas online to encourage other amputees to be confident.
别人是不愿意让知道我是穿假肢的，但是我现在不一样了，现在我是想让更多的人去知道我去使用的假肢，就是我也想传递这么一个想法吧，大家穿假肢。
Liang admitted his experiments were not always smooth and successful, and it took him a long time to come up with a perfect design. Nonetheless, Liang now has made contact with several domestic laboratories to provide his data and user experience and help improve prosthetic legs for more amputees.
A good teacher can inspire hope, ignite imagination, and instill a love of learning. With the COVID-19 pandemic, the profession faced an enormous challenge to ensure that our children are not left behind in their studies. Join Jessica Chung and Wan Alif on Sejahtera Asia tomorrow at 7:30 a.m., where they will be speaking with Muhammad Sharif Mat Saad, school principal from Sekolah Menengah Teknik Sejingkat for Sejahtera Asia Special Teachers' Day celebration, only on Astro Channel 122 and My Free View. And that's all the time we have for TVS Nightline. More headlines, head to our website, TVSTVMY, or follow us on our Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and even TikTok. We end Nightline tonight with Wessa Day greetings from a few religious leaders in Sarawak. I'm Doug Elliott. Have a good week ahead.
In our harmonious land of Sarawak, with many faiths and festivals, I take this opportunity on behalf of all the Christians in Sarawak to wish our Buddhist friends.
I'm Dr. Khaira, and on behalf of all the Sikh community, I would like to wish all our Buddhist brothers and sisters happy Vesak Day. It marks the birth of Buddha, and we hope that all will have a joyous celebration.
I wish all the devotees and followers of Buddha happy Vesak Day. May Lord Buddha bless everyone for good health and prosperity life.